Hey everyone, today I want to show you how to do a wire repair on a marine or high moisture application or a boat. This is a solder joint, a proper solder joint. It's good for an area where wires are not moving. You put a piece of heat shrink over the top of this to protect it from moisture. This is a crimp heat shrink solder connector. You can use this as well. You can see that the crimp joints do not have, it's not pierced through the insulation. That's a proper joint. This is what they call a butt splice. It does not prevent moisture. You can use it in a pinch. Wouldn't recommend that. You can choose different sizes. Here's a different size. That's what it looks like before you crimp and heat shrink it. This is a crimp joint that we're going to use today. This is what I prefer. I recommend this 100%. I'm going to give you a demonstration on how to properly do that. This is a pair of strippers, wire strippers. You can buy these at Harbor Freight. They're sufficient for this. They cut well. You're going to start by picking the size cutter for the size wire that you have. You're going to go about 1/4 inch. I'm going to show you why that's important here in just a moment. So we're going to strip the wire, and then we're going to twist the wire. And then once we have the wire twisted, we're going to bend it at a 90-degree angle. And then we're going to hook the wires together. So you're going to see us bend here. Once you have the wires bent, you hook them together. You bend them all the way over after that. That's just to help hold the wires in place. I'm doing this with no holder or anything, so it's going to be kind of hard to do. But so once you get the wires held together, it's going to look something like this. And then we're going to use our crimp. Now we're going to start by placing the crimp onto the wires to make sure that is the right width. And you can see that the insulation is touching the crimp on each side. So that's not what we want. So our joint isn't wide enough. I'm going to show you one more time. When you put the crimp on, you can see that the insulation is touching the crimp. That's no good. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to strip the wire a little bit further and rebend and put it back together. So I'm going to demonstrate that. This is going to be the proper width that you're looking for. You'll see once we get the wires bent and the crimp placed on the wires, it is not contacting the insulation. You can see that we have a space in between. So I like to pinch it a little bit to hold it still. And then we're going to crimp it with this tool. This is a Kent Moore tool. There's other brands out there. This is the one I have. This is the one I like to use. You can get on Amazon. You can buy this style here. They fit multiple different things. They're just as good. So we're going to start by opening these jaws. You're going to place the crimp in the opening with the open side facing up. And we're going to crimp the right side all the way down till the tool locks. Once the tool locks, we're going to open the jaws and hit the left side. And once we have the left side, we're going to inspect it, make sure it looks good, make sure it's a nice tight connection. Looks good. You can see that we have a full crimp. It's nice and tight. Okay, now we're going to attempt to solder this thing with no holding fixture. I have no holding fixture. And this one doesn't work, so we're going to swap the heads. There are lots of different soldering irons. You can use electric, You can use battery operated. Mine is a gas. I prefer gas. It seems to me like it gets hot faster. But you can buy electric or anything, it doesn't matter. So we got a little bit smaller tip. You see it's ignited. Now we're going to wait for it to heat up. We're going to use a rosin core solder. This is the diameter that I like to use for this size wire. This is typically the size wire you're going to see on a lot of boat wiring. So we're going to start by placing a dab of solder on the tip. Once the tip is hot enough to melt the solder, we're going to start by putting a small puddle on the tip. See, we're not quite hot enough. Oh, there we go. So there's the heat. We got a little puddle. What you're going to do is bring the puddle up to the joint and touch the puddle to the crimp joint. And what that's going to do is transfer the heat into that joint. You don't want to leave it for a long period of time because you don't want to hurt the insulation of the wire. But once you transfer the heat, you can place the solder against the puddle and it will spread out into the joint. I'm going to try to do this with one hand here. Maybe you can see. So we're going to put a little puddle on the end. You'll see that. Once we get the puddle going, we're going to hold it against the joint and you'll see it. It's going to suck the puddle into the crimp joint there. And you can see a little bit of the solder will travel up the wire. And that's how you know you're all the way through. Check both sides. There's a little tiny inspection hole on the back side of that crimp. You can order these crimps off Amazon too. Once you get it good, you can flip it over. You can see it came all the way through, nice and tight. So now to finish the job, we're going to put a piece of heat shrink on it. And this is a marine heat shrink. It's going to have a coating on the inside that once you heat it up, it's going to melt and stick to the wire to prevent moisture 100%. Now this is the way that I like to do it. You know, it's not necessarily the only way. I like the butt splice heat shrinks as well, but this is the way I prefer. It prevents all issues as far as corrosion or water intrusion, and it keeps your wires pretty small and dainty, so when you do a harness repair, you can hide it better. Doesn't look big and bulky like a butt splice or a heat shrink connector would. So that is what we're looking for. It's nice and tight. Got a little bit of squeeze out. And like I said, this right here is sufficient as well. I prefer the other one, but this is fine if you're in a pinch. Just most of the time, temporary repairs become permanent. So I like to do it right way the first time. If you crimp with this style, you're going to use that part of the tool, or a tool like this one, you're going to use the middle part right there. And that's going to prevent you puncturing. But don't use these guys. These guys let water inside. I'm not a huge fan of these, but like I said, if you're in a pinch, it's better than twisting them together. You're going to use the middle part right there. You're going to crimp that nice and strong. You can see that it's there. We're going to do the other side. Going to twist the wire, stick the wire in. We're going to crimp that side as well. And then once you have a good firm connection, you're good to go. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. If you would, subscribe to the channel. I love showing these videos and sharing my expertise on things such as this. And once again, like I said, there's another heat shrink. This is a solder connector. But like I said, be sure to subscribe. I'll upload videos like this as often as I can. Try to show my insight on all things electrical. Until next time, thanks for watching.